Have you ever stood on the precipice of a new decade, wondering what truly lies beyond the familiar markers of age? We often hear about the silver linings of retirement or the joy of grandchildren. But what about the less charted territories? Those profound shifts that occur deep within the landscape of a life lived past 80 years. It's a stage often shrouded in well-meaning euphemisms, or, conversely, stark stereotypes, neither of which fully capture the intricate, sometimes unsettling, yet often deeply insightful realities that unfold. Imagine, for a moment, possessing a lifetime of experiences, a rich tapestry woven with triumphs, sorrows, lessons learned, and wisdom hard-won, only to find the world around you subtly, or not so subtly, changing its engagement with that very richness. These are not mere anecdotes about aching joints or the preference for an early night. These are fundamental alterations in perception, interaction, and self-awareness that can catch even the most prepared individuals off guard, leaving them to navigate uncharted waters. In this exploration, we will delve into 5 such often unspoken truths that many individuals encounter after their 80th birthday. These are not intended to paint a bleak picture, but rather to illuminate the path with honesty and empathy. For in understanding these shifts, how you are seen, how you feel, how you connect with the world, lies the power to approach them not with trepidation, but with informed strength, resilience, and an unwavering sense of self. Some of these realities may feel uncomfortably familiar, others may be revelations, but all are vital to grasp. Because true preparation isn't about fearing the future, it's about understanding its potential contours so you can navigate them with clarity, maintain your confidence, and cultivate an enduring peace. Let us embark on this journey together, uncovering insights that can transform apprehension into agency. The fading echo, when your wealth of experience meets a wall of indifference. One of the most poignant and often deeply unsettling realities that can surface after the age of 80 is the subtle yet perceptible dimming of one's voice in conversations where it once resonated with authority, or, at the very least, earned thoughtful consideration. Picture this. You've weathered economic storms, navigated complex family dynamics, perhaps built a career from the ground up, or witnessed societal transformations that younger generations only read about in history books. Your mind is a repository of lived history, of trial and error, of successes and failures that have sculpted a unique and valuable perspective. Yet, you find yourself in a room, a family gathering, or even a community meeting, and the space for your input seems to have inexplicably shrunk. It's not necessarily overt dismissal, though that can happen. More often, it's a gentle bypass, a polite nod that doesn't quite meet your eyes, a swift change of subject after you've offered a carefully considered opinion. You might share a lesson learned through decades of experience, only to have it met with a patient smile and a comment like, "That's interesting, Grandpa, but things are different now." This isn't to say that every piece of advice from an elder is universally applicable in a rapidly evolving world, but the underlying assumption that age automatically equates to irrelevance is a pervasive and damaging undercurrent of modern ageism. Why does this happen? Perhaps it's an unconscious bias, a societal narrative that idolizes youth and innovation to the exclusion of seasoned wisdom. Or maybe it's the sheer speed of technological and social change, leading younger individuals to believe, sometimes mistakenly, that past experiences hold no currency in the present. The effect, however, is often profoundly felt. It can lead to a sense of frustration, not born from a desire to control, but from a genuine wish to contribute, to save others from pitfalls you've already encountered. It can chip away at one's sense of value and purpose, making you question if the sum of your life's learning still holds any meaning for those who follow. Consider Sarah, an 85-year-old retired teacher, who meticulously managed her finances through various economic climates. When her grandson spoke of a risky new investment, her gentle cautionary tale about market volatility, drawn from personal experience in the 70s and 80s, was met with an affectionate pat on the hand and a, "Don't worry, Nana, this is different. It's all online now." He didn't mean to be unkind, but the dismissal stung, not because her advice was definitively right, but because her experience wasn't even considered a valid data point. This shift from valued contributor to quiet observer within one's own circle can be isolating. But here lies a quiet power. When overt attempts to share are met with passive resistance, the wise learn to choose their moments with even greater care. Sometimes, unsolicited advice falls on deaf ears, but a pertinent observation, offered sparingly and with gentle conviction, can cut through the noise. Your silence can become a canvas, making the occasional well-placed words you do offer carry unexpected weight. The challenge, then, is not to become bitter or to retreat entirely, but to find new, perhaps more subtle ways for your wisdom to find its audience, even if it's just one receptive ear at a time, or through the legacy of your actions and the quiet dignity with which you carry your knowledge. That was the first reality, a significant adjustment for many who have spent a lifetime sharing their insights. If you find this exploration of how opinions can become unheard, or if you have developed your own ways to navigate this, please comment with the number 1 below. Sharing your perspective enriches our collective understanding. The shifting calendar, when farewells outnumber felicitations. There is a natural rhythm to life, marked by milestones and gatherings. In our younger years, the calendar often brims with joyous occasions, birthdays that mark exciting new stages, weddings that celebrate new beginnings, baby showers that welcome new life. These events weave a vibrant tapestry of connection and shared happiness. However, as the decades accumulate, particularly after reaching 80, a different, more somber cadence begins to emerge. The invitations change. The phone calls bear different news. You may find with a startling regularity that never quite loses its sting that you are dressing for funerals more often than for birthday parties. Each notice, each service, marks not just the loss of an individual, but often the erosion of a shared past, a thinning of the ranks of those who remember the world as you do. What makes this reality so profoundly challenging isn't solely the acute pain of individual grief, though that in itself is a heavy burden. It's the cumulative effect, the relentless succession of losses. Friends you shared youthful escapades with, neighbors who were fixtures in your daily life, colleagues who understood a specific era of your professional journey, even siblings or a spouse with whom you've built a lifetime of memories. One by one, their absence creates voids that can feel immense. The crowd of familiar faces thins, and the silence in the spaces they once occupied can echo with a particular poignancy. There's an old saying that attending a funeral is like having a small piece of yourself buried too. And when these experiences multiply, that sense of personal diminishment can become a heavy cloak. Beyond the sorrow, a strange and often unspoken companion can be survivor's guilt. Why them and not me is a question that can haunt the quiet hours. There might be a flicker of relief for having been spared a particular illness or fate, quickly followed by a pang of guilt for that very relief, and an aching emptiness for those who weren't so fortunate. This complex emotional cocktail is rarely discussed openly. At memorial services, condolences are exchanged, a hug is offered, but then life, for the living, tends to move on, and the name of the departed might be spoken less and less frequently. This societal discomfort with prolonged mourning can inadvertently intensify the griever's sense of isolation. Many don't realize that this constant immersion in loss, this repeated confrontation with mortality, exacts a significant toll on the spirit. It can engender a reluctance to form new, deep connections, a subconscious fear of inevitable future pain. Conversely, it might lead to an almost desperate clinging to remaining loved ones, an anxiety born of past losses. Neither response is inherently wrong. They are manifestations of a heart attempting to shield itself. Yet, within this challenging landscape, there is also a profound truth. Every loss is a testament to a connection that mattered, to love that was shared, to a life that intertwined with yours in a meaningful way. The depth of your grief is a measure of the depth of that bond. And as the circle of contemporaries may shrink, the significance of those who remain, family, dedicated friends, compassionate caregivers, grows exponentially. In these later years, love doesn't need to be expansive to be sustaining. Its depth becomes its most vital quality. A few truly close relationships can provide more warmth and solace than a room full of acquaintances. So the imperative is to allow yourself to grieve, truly grieve. Speak their names, share their stories. Let your tears be a tribute to the indelible mark they left on your life. But equally, permit yourself to continue living, not merely existing in the shadow of loss, but actively engaging with the present, cherishing those still with you, and perhaps even finding new, albeit different, connections. This conscious choice to embrace life, even amidst sorrow, is perhaps the most powerful legacy you can carry forward, for yourself and in honor of those you remember. This shift in life's rhythm, the second reality we've explored, can be profound. If you've experienced this or have found ways to navigate this season of life with grace, share your thoughts by commenting with the number 2. Your experiences are valuable to our community. And if you're finding this discussion helpful, please consider liking this article and subscribing to our channel for more content that delves into life's important transitions. Your support enables us to continue creating insightful material. More than a number. Reclaiming personhood in the healthcare maze. Navigating the healthcare system can be a daunting experience at any age, but for many individuals over 80, it can begin to feel less like a partnership in well-being and more like being processed through an impersonal assembly line. The shift often begins subtly. You arrive for an appointment, and after the perfunctory weigh-in and blood pressure check, a nurse might run through a standardized list of questions. Any changes in medication? How's your sleep? Diet okay? The doctor then enters, perhaps offering a cursory greeting before their eyes fix on the computer screen, scrolling through your electronic health record. Before you've had a chance to fully articulate that new, nagging pain in your hip or the persistent fatigue that's been clouding your days, you sense the consultation is already moving towards a predetermined checklist of age-related screenings or prescription renewals. This isn't to demonize healthcare professionals. The vast majority are dedicated and compassionate individuals, often working under immense systemic pressures, including time constraints and administrative burdens. However, the unfortunate consequence can be that the patient, especially an older patient, transitions from being perceived as a unique individual with a rich personal history and specific concerns into a geriatric case, a collection of potential ailments, prescribed medications, and cautionary advice. Your decades of knowing your own body, your intuitive understanding of what feels normal versus what feels off, can be inadvertently overshadowed by statistical probabilities associated with your age group. Phrases like, well, at your age, some discomfort is to be expected, or that's just a normal part of getting older, can feel profoundly dismissive, even if not intended as such. It's as if age itself becomes the primary diagnosis, and all other symptoms are merely its routine manifestations. This experience can be more than just frustrating. It can feel dehumanizing and can have serious implications for health outcomes. When you feel rushed, unheard, or as though your concerns are being minimized, a natural reluctance to speak up can develop. You might begin to second-guess your own perceptions, wondering, am I just complaining? Is this really serious, or am I overreacting? This self-doubt can prevent crucial information from being shared, potentially delaying diagnosis or leading to inadequate treatment. The sterile environment of many clinics, combined with the often impersonal nature of these interactions, is a significant reason why some seniors hesitate to seek medical attention until a problem becomes acute. It's not just about the inconvenience or the cost. It's about the anticipated emotional labor of having to fight to be seen and heard as a whole person, not just a set of symptoms. But it is crucial to remember that you possess an inviolable right to be an active participant in your own healthcare. You have earned, through a lifetime of experience, the right to ask questions until you understand, to challenge assumptions, to request further investigation if you feel something is amiss, and to seek a second opinion without apology. You have the right to say, hold on, I have a few more things I need to discuss if you feel an appointment is being prematurely concluded. Advocating for yourself or having a trusted family member or friend advocate with you can make a significant difference. Preparing for appointments by writing down your concerns and questions beforehand can help ensure you cover all necessary ground. Seeking out practitioners who are known for their patient-centered approach, who take the time to listen and engage in shared decision-making, is an investment in your well-being. You are not a data point on a chart. You are an individual with a unique story, an ongoing life, and inherent dignity. Never let the mechanics of a system make you feel like a footnote in your own healthcare narrative. Feeling like a checklist instead of a person, our third discussed reality, is a challenge many face. What are your experiences in navigating the healthcare system as you've aged? Have you found doctors who truly listen? Or have you faced dismissiveness? Share your insights or tips by commenting with the keyword healthcare below. We can all learn from each other, and your story might just empower someone else to advocate for themselves more effectively. The stranger in the mirror, reconciling inner vitality with an ever-changing reflection. There's a peculiar moment, one that often arrives unannounced and can catch you completely by surprise, that many people experience in their later decades, particularly after 80. You might be walking past a shop window, catching a fleeting glimpse of a figure reflected in the glass, or perhaps you pause before your bathroom mirror in the morning. For a split second, a flicker of non-recognition occurs. Who is that? You might internally query, observing the lines etched around the eyes, the subtle sag of the jawline, the hair that's perhaps thinner or a different shade than you recall. Then, with a gentle jolt, recognition dawns. Oh, that's me. But the feeling doesn't always align with that visual confirmation. It's a profound, sometimes disconcerting disconnect between the vibrant, ageless self that resides within and the undeniable physical transformations mirrored back. This experience is far deeper than mere vanity. It touches the very core of identity. Inside, you may still feel the echoes of your 30-year-old energy, the memory of your 50-year-old competence, or the spirit of your 70-year-old adventurousness. The mind retains a vivid sense of self that hasn't necessarily aged at the same pace as the body. You remember effortlessly climbing stairs, dancing with abandon, or standing tall and straight without a second thought. Yet, the physical vessel tells a different, quieter story. A narrative written in wrinkles, age spots, altered posture, and movements that are now more measured and deliberate. Your skin, muscles, joints, and even the timbre of your voice have undergone their own gradual metamorphosis, often without explicit permission from your inner self. This creates a gap, a sometimes uncomfortable dissonance between the felt self and the seen self. The world we inhabit often doesn't help bridge this gap. Media portrayals, advertising campaigns, and even well-intentioned compliments can inadvertently reinforce the notion that youth is the gold standard of beauty and vitality. There's an implicit and sometimes explicit message that as physical youthfulness fades, so too does one's relevance or attractiveness. This cultural obsession with preserving or mimicking youth can make the natural process of aging feel like a personal failing rather than an inevitable, and in many ways, beautiful unfolding of a long life. It's easy to internalize these messages and to feel that your changing appearance somehow diminishes your worth or your presence in the world. However, there is a profound, often overlooked truth here. The reflection staring back at you, though different, is a testament to a life fully lived. Those lines around your eyes? They are the roadmap of countless smiles, moments of deep concentration, and perhaps a few tears shed along the way. They are proof of your emotional journey. The hands that may now show prominent veins or a touch of arthritis? They are the hands that have worked, created, comforted, and held loved ones. Your slower gait isn't a deficiency. It's a symbol of resilience, a testament to the fact that you are still here, still moving forward, despite the passage of years. The challenge lies in adjusting not just to the external changes, but to our own internal perception of them. Letting go of the attachment to a younger physical self isn't about loss. It's about making space to honor and appreciate every iteration of who you have been, and most importantly, who you are now. This current version of you is layered with wisdom, experience, and a depth of character that a smoother, younger face could never convey. You are not fading, you are evolving. The reflection you see is not a stranger. It's the culmination of decades of living, loving, learning, and enduring. A person who still shows up each day with courage and an inherent grace. The experience of seeing a changing reflection, the fourth reality, touches on deep aspects of identity. If this resonates with you, or if you found peace in embracing your evolving self and the stories your appearance tells, please comment with the number 4. Your journey of self-acceptance can be a powerful inspiration to others. And if these insights are bringing value to your day, don't forget to hit the notification bell after subscribing so you're always updated with our new content that aims to support and enlighten, navigating a high-speed world at your own deliberate pace. There often comes a juncture in later life, particularly for those over 80, when the relentless velocity of the surrounding world begins to feel distinctly out of sync with one's own internal rhythm. It's not merely a physical slowing, though that can be a factor. It's a more pervasive sense that the cultural, technological, and even social landscapes are morphing at a speed that feels overwhelming, almost alien. One day, it seems, you understood how things worked, and the next, you're confronted with a barrage of new systems, new terminologies, and new expectations for which you feel entirely unprepared. Perhaps the most challenging aspect is the implicit societal expectation to seamlessly adapt to this ever-accelerating pace, or risk being perceived as resistant, out of touch, or simply left behind. This phenomenon manifests in countless everyday situations. You might approach a bank teller only to be directed to an ATM or an online portal. You attempt to book a train ticket and find the station counter closed, with a sign pointing to a complex website or app. Grocery stores increasingly feature self-checkout kiosks with flashing lights and unintuitive interfaces, replacing familiar interactions with cashiers. Making a simple doctor's appointment might now involve navigating automated phone menus with robotic voices or logging into patient portals requiring multiple passwords. Even social connections are transformed. A casual phone call might be supplanted by group texts filled with emojis and shorthand you don't recognize, or event invitations disseminated solely through social media platforms you never joined. It can feel as though life has hit the fast-forward button, and somewhere along the line, it forgot to offer a manual or pause for those who needed a moment to catch up. This growing chasm between personal pace and worldly pace can cultivate a subtle but insidious form of isolation. It's not necessarily born from a lack of care from others, but often from their unawareness or their assumption that everyone is keeping step. What was once a straightforward task can now feel like an obstacle course, demanding a level of technological literacy or cognitive agility that feels draining to muster. The constant barrage of updates, new devices, and shifting social norms can be exhausting. You've spent a lifetime adapting, through economic depressions, wars, cultural revolutions, and personal upheavals. But after a certain point, when every minor change seems to come with a steep learning curve, the energy and inclination to constantly relearn can wane. Yet, the expectation to remain with it, to be instantly reachable, to manage your affairs digitally, persists. Expressing frustration might lead to being labeled as stubborn or stuck in the past. Asking for help, while necessary, can sometimes be met with impatience or a quick, "It's easy, just do this," which doesn't actually teach, but merely bypasses. It's vital, in the face of this, to affirm a fundamental truth. You do not owe the world speed. You are not obligated to contort yourself to fit into a mold that was clearly not designed with your generation's experience or preferences in mind. There is profound wisdom in choosing deliberation over haste, clarity over convoluted convenience, and genuine human connection over fleeting digital interactions. In fact, the calm perspective, the measured thought, and the deep well of experience you bring are qualities the frantic modern world desperately needs, even if it doesn't always recognize it. Instead of battling the relentless current, you have the agency to choose where and how you engage. You can and should ask for assistance without apology, clearly and patiently, until you understand. You can set firm boundaries around the pace and methods of communication that work for you. You can remind those around you, gently but firmly, that experience is not a relic to be outpaced by a software update. It is a foundation to be leaned upon. The world may continue its frantic sprint, but that doesn't compel you to join the race. Sometimes, the most powerful and sane response is to move at your own rhythm, allowing others the opportunity to rediscover the value of a slower, more considered way of being. The challenge of keeping pace with a rapidly changing world, our fifth reality, is something many can relate to across different generations, but it can feel particularly acute in later life. How do you manage this? Do you have any humorous or frustrating stories about encounters with new technology, or perhaps some valuable tips for staying connected without feeling completely overwhelmed? Share your experiences and wisdom by commenting with the keyword PACE. We genuinely love hearing your stories and learning from your resilience. If these discussions have provided you with food for thought or a sense of validation, please show your support by hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and remembering to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on future insightful content. Embracing the unfolding narrative, wisdom, resilience, and the power of being seen. As we draw these reflections to a close, having journeyed through 5 significant, often unspoken, realities faced by many after the age of 80, it's important to pause and absorb their collective weight, not with a sense of despondency, but with a feeling of recognition and shared understanding. These are not isolated incidents or mere inconveniences of aging. They are profound shifts in the human experience. The quiet disregard of accumulated wisdom, the somber recalibration of life's celebratory rhythm, the depersonalization within systems meant to care, the evolving relationship with one's own reflection, and the disquieting acceleration of the world. To acknowledge these truths isn't a sign of weakness or complaint. It is an act of profound wisdom and courage. Perhaps one of these realities resonated more deeply with your own experiences, or maybe you recognized echoes of all five. The purpose of this exploration has not been to paint later life with a brush of negativity, but to affirm that if you have encountered these challenges, you are not alone, nor are you merely imagining them. These shifts are real. They are valid, and confronting them with open eyes and an honest heart is one of an individual's most powerful capacities. You have navigated decades of change, embraced joy, weathered storms, loved deeply, and grieved profoundly. The fact that the contemporary world isn't always architected to honor the richness of that journey does not in any way diminish your intrinsic value or the immense contributions you still have to offer. Indeed, the clarity, calm, seasoned perspective, and hard-won resilience that often characterize this stage of life are qualities our often turbulent world needs now more than ever. Therefore, take these insights not as burdens, but as tools for empowerment. Let them serve as a reminder that it is more than acceptable. It is necessary to advocate for your voice to be heard when you feel overlooked. It is vital to allow yourself the space and compassion to grieve losses, both big and small, in your own way and time. It is your right to demand respect and person-centered care within any system. It is a journey of self-love to find peace with your evolving physical form, recognizing it as a map of your incredible life. And it is a testament to your agency to move through the world at a pace that honors your well-being and allows you to engage meaningfully, rather than being swept along by a relentless current. Your life is an ongoing narrative, rich with chapters yet to be written and wisdom yet to be shared. The value you hold is immeasurable, and your presence is a gift. After exploring these five realities, what is the single most important shift in perspective you'll take forward in your own life, or in how you perceive and support the elders in your community? We invite you to share your reflections in the comments section below. Your thoughts and experiences are not only important to us, they contribute to a tapestry of collective wisdom that can support and uplift others. Remember, navigating the changes that come with a long life is a continuous journey, not a fixed destination. Begin today by acknowledging these truths and embracing your own strength. Thank you for investing your time and attention with us. If this article has touched you, offered new perspectives, or validated your experiences, please consider sharing it with friends, family, or anyone who might find solace or understanding within these words. And, as always, your likes and subscriptions are deeply appreciated. They fuel our commitment to creating and sharing meaningful content. We eagerly look forward to engaging with you in the comments and continuing these important conversations in the future.